Good afternoon. It is 18 degrees on March 30th. I'm your host, Dana Foster, and you're watching News at Noon. I'll have your weather and roads in just a bit, but first, let's get to our top story for today. Last night, the Ashcroft Osprey was returned home safely with hopes that it would fly up to its nest. Let's take a look.
Way more lively this round than going in.
Yeah.
Going in, all he did was a few little they think it's a him because I was told it's smaller than the one up there, and they said girls have more speckled belly feathers.
Kenny the Ashcroft Osprey was released back into the wild today. The Osprey had been staying in the BC Wildlife Park in Kamloops, where it was undergoing assessment for possible injuries. The Osprey was discovered by Ashcroft resident Ermis Koulos. While he was on one of his daily walks, he noticed the bird tangled up in wiring.
My wife and I called the BC Hydro to see if there's anything they could do about it, and sure enough, they did. They came down and they did the best they could to release it from that twine. And then they put it back on the nest after a few hours labor there, and she seemed to be okay.
The next day, Ermis's wife found the Osprey by the river where it seemed to be injured.
And then we didn't quite know what to do, and we phoned a number of people. Finally, we did manage to get to the wildlife park in Kamloops, and they suggested sending the bird to them. And the bird ended up in their place, and she is now back.
Animal lover Jen Eaton volunteered to transport the Osprey to BC Wildlife Park, and today brought the Osprey back to his home.
The vet checked yesterday and said there are no issues with this bird. There's no reason why it can't go home. So I went in today and I got it, and I brought it home, hoping it'll take flight back up to its nest.
Jenny named the Osprey Kenny after Kenny Rogers, with the hopes that he will soon find his dolly. With a passion for wildlife, there was no question she wouldn't help out.
And I love animals. If I could, I would bring them all home, and my husband would totally divorce me then.
The Osprey will continue to be monitored, and if he doesn't go back up to his nest or ends up falling out, he will then be transported back to BC Wildlife. Until then, residents are asked to keep away from him.
Just stay away from the bird, let it do its thing. He will probably take off on his own, more than likely after we leave, because that's how animals are. But it's like any wildlife, just leave it alone.
For Sun Valley News in Ashcroft, British Columbia, I'm Dana Foster. Now, Kenny had to be rescued again this morning. He was discovered stuck at the base of the trees close to the ravine. He was well protected by other animals, but Jen said that she will be taking the Osprey back to BC Wildlife later on today. And Ashcroft resident and environmental guardian Anne McKauge has joined the Butterfly Project. This project is hosted by the David Suzuki Foundation, and the project is all about promoting butterfly gardens.
Either identifying existing butterfly gardens or creating them in public spaces, in neighbors' backyards, wherever. The key to creating a butterfly garden is planting native plants and providing shelter, providing a little water source, providing food for when they have, I don't know if the word is larva or pupa, I have to find that out, but you need to provide a host plant. Like for the monarch butterfly, it's milkweed, but for other butterflies, it's other host plants, so they only exclusively feed on that. So it's a huge subject. I just watched an hour program this morning on butterflies, and it's just incredibly engaging. And I am happy to report that I've had great uptake from Cache Creek Elementary. They are doing wonderful things there at Cache Creek, so I'm in like a dirty shirt.
The Cache Creek Elementary has a permaculture garden run by David Dumont as a tool teaching his students how to work with nature and not against it. Now, in other news, Anne is also calling on residents and village council to practice what you preach by fully embarking on the creative ways that the community can come together to fully represent the Ashcroft slogan, Wellness Awaits. Okay, so we are having some technical difficulties with that video, but we'll get that up in just a bit. We will have the full story coverage to both of those stories and how you can get involved in the Butterfly Garden Project, as well as creative ways to come up to help out with the wellness slogan that Ashcroft is promoting. Now, in other news, going into Cache Creek. Let's take a look. Cache Creek levels for the river rose again today, but Wendy Coomer told Sun Valley News this morning that the levels are going down. However, with expected warmer temperatures and snow at higher elevation levels, snow will be melting and it will add added moisture to the creeks and rivers in our region. Cache Creek street sweeping will begin on Sunday, May 2nd. The village is asking for vehicles and trailers not to be left on the streets as it will obstruct cleaning. And at the Cache Creek office last night, Village Council posted the presentation of the proposed 2021 budget, and it was announced. You can also get that copy by going to village.cachecreek.bc.ca. You can take a look at that slide, as well as we will be following up for interviews from mayor and council later on today to get those comments on the budgets. If you have any questions about the budget, you can email me at info@sunvalleynews.ca. And residential cleanup starts on Tuesday, May 11th, in order to help residents with spring cleaning. The village is offering to help out for residents to have their waste picked up by curbside at 8 a.m. The village is asking you to separate your waste as follows: from construction, renovation waste, yard waste, and they're also asking no hazarded waste, and also to separate your metal. Residents are to bundle and bag their waste, and nothing longer than 4 feet will be collected, and tires are to be off those rims. And the Cache Creek Market is opening up this weekend. You can go down to the intersection from 9 to 1 p.m. and do make sure that you are wearing your mask and following COVID-19 protocols. We are now going to take a look into our weather for today and this weekend. Well, weather for the Thompson, Nicola region, we are seeing cloudy skies this morning, and then it is going to become cloudy, partly cloudy this afternoon. We can already see the kind of clouds parting right now. You're going to see a low of 2 tonight, but there is a high of 13 today. And then weather for this weekend, partly cloudy with some sun on both Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, you'll see a high of 11, and then on Sunday, a high of 14 on Saturday. And then onto our roads, there's nothing major to report as of right now. Just make sure that you're watching out for road maintenance and repair. Continue to be aware of those road personnel. However, there is going to be road maintenance that has started today at that 7 kilometers west of Lillooet. There is single lane alternating traffic, so make sure that you are aware that you will be having possible delays of 5 minutes. And then again, watch out for signage and personnel. If you want your full road and maintenance report, you can go to www.drivebc.ca. Now, I'm hoping this will work because my technology here is not always working with me. But we're going to take a look at a wonderful interview with local photographer Canadice Camille on her stunning photography captured on her and her husband's local ranch. Let's take a look. All right, thank you so much for joining us today here, Canadice. Just want to start off with, tell us a little bit about your career background and how you got into photography.
Okay, so I am Canadice Camille Photography. I'm from the Skeetchestn First Nations band in the Swatmik territory. Cool. I do live in Kamloops, BC currently with my husband, and oh my gosh, I've probably been in photography over 6 years now. This is probably my 7th year, actually. And I really did stumble into photography. I had no idea anything about camera gear before, really anything about taking photos. So I learned as a complete newbie. And 7 years ago, this was all before iPhones and really cell phones. So it was old school camera gear. So the learning curve was really steep for me. But I had realized along the way that I was really passionate about this, and I was actually able to capture things in camera and portray the story behind what was actually happening in my life. A lot of my photos came from our ranch and watching my husband train horses. And I really wanted to express that connection that we had with the horses. And so I spent a lot of time learning about cameras and gear and how to better express what I was seeing and capturing that in camera so that other people could experience it as well.
Yeah, well, you're doing an amazing job. I know I've been following your pages and they're captivating. The imagery of the horses. Did you grow up in the ranch style or the ranch lifestyle? Do you think that where your passion came from, or is this newer?
No, I'm definitely grew up being a horse crazy girl. Mm-hmm. I had horses from a young age all the way up. Like even now we have quite a few horses here at the ranch. And I was, growing up in that environment around horses and working ranch and cowboy lifestyle.
All right, so you do have your ranch did make headlines recently in the news regarding a colt that was stuck in the mud. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. We do have a few herds in this area that are feral. They're on the rangelands all year long. And my husband is the range rider for this territory, for this area. And so we get a lot of phone calls about horses in distress or horses out or animals and livestock in general. But this time in particular, Jordan was out checking fence line because there are some holes in the fence. And the horses that were down low, they tend to run away really quickly. Like I've been having a hard time photographing them because I do a lot of these feral horses on my websites and galleries. You'll see a lot of them out there. But this particular herd has been really tricky for me to capture in camera because they literally run at the sign of you. Mm-hmm. And this small herd was kind of hanging around the water hole and not running away from when he was there. And he thought that was really unusual. Oh. And so he had phoned me to come out with my camera because he thought this was the perfect opportunity for me to get some shots. Wow. And when we were out there, I was photographing them from a distance and we were creeping up on them. And some of the herd took off, but two of them, the mare and the stallion, stayed back, and they actually were fairly aggressive with us. They ran at us a little bit, and it kind of made us go around the watering hole to get out of their way. And that's when we had seen the foal in the mud, and it all started making way more sense about why this mare and this stallion didn't take off. They were there protecting the baby, and it was stuck. It had to have been there for quite a while. It was completely covered in mud. So that's kind of where the story ensued. And I'm like, it is pretty incredible how I was out there with my gear and we came across all of this, because it is definitely not something in our normal day-to-day, but to be able to capture it like that was pretty moving.
Just that wild lifestyle. That's amazing. Seriously, people like you, I so admire people that can be on the land and have connection with animals. I was actually in Skeetchestn. I'm saying it right? Skeetchestn?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. I was up on, I think it's Buffy Flats, where the buck horses are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so cool. And I started reaching for its face, and I was trying to, and it's like trying to get away from me. And the cowboys are like, okay, you pet it by its neck. And then I was like, wow, you guys are just an amazing type of people. What do you think makes our area so special?
Wow. For me, it is how kind of vast our land is. And even from Skeetchestn to Kamloops here, I love the sagebrush and the grassland combination. It really is a diverse terrain, and it really does offer a wide variety of animals, from small little, rabbits to coyotes. And we seen wolves the other day out here on the range, which was my first time seeing them in real life. We were out riding and a wolf was there. So to be able to go outside literally, and in 10-15 minutes you could be in the wilderness and have it be that wild. So I think that is what is really unique and special about this area.
With your photography, what are some of your favorite pieces or favorite memories that you have? I know that's always a tough question.
It is really tough. I am really passionate about capturing the unique expressions and characteristics of horses, and really portraying that kind of emotional moments behind what I'm seeing in person. And there's been a few times where I look at prints or photos now, and you can still feel that. You can still feel what had happened in that moment. And I definitely have some hanging, like there's one behind me. There's some hanging in my house that I do have really personal, emotional connections to. But what I find that the most for me is when I hear back from other people and they are expressing to me how connected they are to a photo that they've seen, or a story that I've written about with that photo attached. And it really draws to them in different ways. And a lot of it is emotional based. A lot of it is reconnecting people back to something. And to me, that's what I love to show in my photos.
So tell us, what's next? What can people expect to see from you?
Oh, even as of yesterday, we were out on the range and we went and found a feral foal. He's pretty new. He's like a week old. That's the latest video that was launched last night onto YouTube. So that is pretty new and pretty fresh. I can see him out my window right now following Jordan around the field. So stuff like right now it is foaling season. So I imagine over the next month, I'm going to have a lot of photos and more videos of the feral foals out. And, I really do spend a lot of time with these horses, but I also do have like my business side of it where I am hired by clients. So I still do have my clients where we had to reschedule for tonight because it's raining, but I'm going to go out and do a photo shoot of a pregnant mare, and we're going to call it like mare maternity. So it's going to be so cute, her big belly. And then we're going to come back after when she has baby and kind of take some photos and include the baby with it. So I love that kind of stuff. I definitely appreciate all my clients and everybody who does hire me. So
That's awesome. Now, if people want to follow on your
uh,
amazing journey, where can they watch you? Where can they follow along?
Instagram is usually the first place I go to, either my photography page or our Camille's page. They really do intertwine quite a bit because our life is this. I am at home all the time on the ranch, so the horse side of my business and the photography side of my business is almost one, but each page does have something a little different. And then it moves over to Facebook. So and TikTok. This is crazy. TikTok is so fun.
That's so exciting. Oh, I just love watching your stuff, and I love seeing what you're doing. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great chatting with you, and we're gonna send a link for everybody, or we're gonna post a link to your page as well on the Sun Valley News. So thanks so much for chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So the idea of where wellness awaits really touched me. And I was doing a lot of walking around town, and I was seeing a lot of things where I wasn't seeing the love. I wasn't seeing that we were walking the talk. And so with the wonderful help of Hannah Frains, who really did the technical thing, we did a delegation to the Ashcroft Council, saying, please check your vision. You know, are we filtering our activities through where wellness awaits? This Love Ashcroft thing, which I recognize as an economic development thing, seems to me it would be really, it should be carried by the whole idea of where wellness awaits. Wellness, can you think of anything that's more enticing right now during a pandemic than wellness? So that's why I wrote that letter.
Okay, we'll have more on that story later on today. Yes, my mic is now working again. Now, what I had said previously, if you do want to go and see the full story that was stuck in the mud from the interview that we just listened to, you can go to their YouTube page. I will also have that link up just after this broadcast for everybody to watch. It is truly amazing. What a wonderful community and region we live in. Oh man, so many cool wildlife experiences that you get to watch every day. Well, there you go. That is our noon at news. News at noon. It is Friday. So also made the announcement today that Sun Valley News will be approaching and sending out official invitations to healthcare officials, politicians, and community leaders as we release a series on healthcare gaps within our community. Of course, the discussion will be on the 24 emergency Ashcroft Hospital and other community health stories that you can share. If you would like to share your story, you can email me at info@sunvalleynews.ca, and you can also join our Sun Valley News community forum. All you have to go is www.sunvalleynews.ca to find out more information about our page. But if you want to go to our community forum, just go click groups, and you can join right there. Well, there you go, News at Noon. I'm your host, Dana Foster. If you have a news story, email me, check out our website, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Have a great day and have a great weekend.